Well, Brittany, while Rachel's pulling that up, we can just do some quick introductions of the Red River team. You've got a number of folks from Red River. Rachel, Molly, and I are part of our workforce development organization. We're a longtime partner with Northern Virginia Community College through both Cisco's Networking Academy and AWS Educate. In fact, we've been able to bring a couple of Nova alum today to talk about their experiences with joining Red River and our accelerated development program, our academy program. And we really appreciate the opportunity. Rachel, I see you've got the slides up, so I'll happily pass it back over to you. But again, thanks everyone for your time.
Great, yeah, so let's see here. Just to give you a quick agenda here, and then we'll go into our team introductions. So we'll just kind of go through a Red River overview and then go into some of our customer needs and the market needs that we're seeing. Then we've got some kind of candidate preparation tips for you, some internship tips, and then we'll talk about kind of Red River career opportunities, our academy program, our workforce development team, and then continuing education. So here's a little bit about us, our Red River presenters here today. So Richard Ackerman, he was just speaking there. He's a part of our workforce development team, along with myself, Rachel Burton, and Molly St. Germain. We're all part of that workforce development team. And then I will let Nicaela and Nathan introduce themselves as Nova alums.
Hi, my name is Nathan Portnoy. I graduated from Nova in 2015. I ended up going after I got out of the Army. I had finished a deployment in Iraq around 2012, took some time off, and ended up realizing that school was a good place to get a little bit ahead in life, and Nova was right there for me.
Great. Do we have Nicaela on?
I thought I saw her. I'm not sure. It doesn't look like she's on. She's not in the waiting room.
We can give a quick background on Nicaela. So she's a recent Nova grad. She actually was part of the AWS Educate program with Nova. She's got some great background experience. She's a really interesting person who's transitioned her career. So she was in healthcare, and both Nicaela and Nathan came to Red River as part of our accelerated development program, our academy program that Rachel and Molly will tell you about, I think, in the coming slides. But a great example of someone transitioning careers to a tech-related field, and again, another proud Nova grad.
Great, okay. So moving along here, we'll just go through kind of a little bit about Red River here. So we've been in business, we just had our 25th anniversary, so we've been around a good amount of time. And we're over 600 employees now. I think we're pretty close to 700, getting right up in there. So very big, rapidly growing, even despite kind of the COVID challenges that we've seen, we're still very rapidly growing and adding new team members every day. And then we've got kind of field offices all throughout the US. We've got remote employees kind of across the country as well, but we've got our main offices. Our headquarters location is up in Claremont, New Hampshire. Then we've got a federal headquarters office in Reston, Virginia, and a managed services office in Chantilly, Virginia. And then we've got kind of our development analytics office in Sacramento, California, a commercial headquarters in Boston, Massachusetts, and then kind of our technology transformation innovation center in Austin, Texas. So along with that, we do have 3 network operations centers kind of in those field offices. We've got one up in Claremont, we've got that one in Chantilly, Virginia, and then we have one in our Sacramento office as well. And as you can see, we've got 200 plus OEM partners that we work with, Cisco kind of being our biggest partner there. You can see we've been gold partners with them for 12 plus years. We've received our master's collaboration and our master's security partnerships with them as well. And most recently, now we're a Cisco Networking Academy support center and instructor training center. So really exciting. Cisco is one of our big partners, and we do a lot of work with them. And then just one other thing I want to highlight here is our Red River Charitable Foundation. Kind of giving back to the community is really important to all of us here at Red River. You can see we've kind of logged 2,500 plus hours of community service time last year, but it's even more than that. Our two main initiatives are veterans and students in technology. So kind of giving back to our community any way that we can. So then I just quickly wanted to touch on kind of our three main customer markets that we see. We've got kind of our federal group of customers, and then we have our commercial customers, and kind of in the middle there we've got our state and local government and education customers. That's what the SLED stands for. Okay. So just kind of to talk about what we're seeing kind of the future in the IT marketplace, we're kind of seeing it shift to more the line of businesses where they have the funding, and kind of that's where the business focus is. It's not necessarily the whole company, it's kind of more individualized to their business needs as a departmental structure. And we're seeing that shift kind of from less infrastructure, hardware heavy to more kind of that workload software area there. And we're seeing that shift kind of with the remote and cloud state of thinking, especially with COVID impacting us here as well. We're seeing that need for remote and cloud opportunities grow very rapidly. And a lot of that is coming from the need for automation to make our jobs and our lives easier by automating things. And a lot of that comes from the work with the cloud. Anything else, team, that you want to add in here, kind of what we're seeing for our customer base and how it's changed over the years?
Well said, Rachel, right? Centralized IT really isn't the focus anymore. It's about the business units and the lines of business. I think that's a really key point of the future of IT as we see it, and our roles changing based on what customers are demanding.
Right. So on this next slide here, I'm actually going to turn it over to Nathan. He's part of our project management team at Red River, and we thought it would be really great for him to give you a customer example to kind of show you what we're seeing our customers ask for today. So we've got a little bit of bullet points here that Nathan will kind of highlight in his kind of case study.
It's on mute. Yeah, so I've been very fortunate in the course of the last 45 days to get really just shot into everything that Red River is doing. And it's been incredibly exciting to get a combination of federal clients as well as commercial clients. And on the federal side, what we end up seeing, or what I've been working on primarily, is giving the Department of Veterans Affairs better mobility capabilities. So right now, the VA is this massive government organization that serves every single veteran in the United States. And that's a lot of people. And it is a medical network that is larger than any other medical network in the entire United States, if not the world. It has more medical centers, it has more clinics, it has more regional offices, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on. So Red River has been able to come in with solutions to increase their capabilities so that they can process veterans' claims better, so they can process health situations better, and work on all of that. So that, in a nutshell, covers all of this. More specifically, best price, fastest time delivery time. We're going in, we're doing these in short periods of times, very little delay. I have basically 4 months of travel coming up where I'm out every other week, going on site and making sure this is done. We then are finding the solutions based on a product and a service that we can deliver quickly. So another thing that ties into it. I am currently have these screens being blocked. There we go. And then, of course, we're focusing heavily on value and on the customer. So it's not just value isn't a price number. It's what the client is going to be able to get out of it and what do we deliver. So we make sure that our products and our services are perfect for that unique situation that is needed, so we can provide the most value to them. Now, my fun one that I'm going to actually skip a couple is cautious on cloud solutions. I personally haven't gotten a chance to do a lot with cloud yet, but from what I understand, most of the organizations that we're coming across, or some of the organizations that we're coming across that are a little cautious about cloud, or it's more of just they don't really understand what's going on, how cloud works. I had a conversation with a gentleman the other day, and I said, hey man, you've got to start moving your stuff to your personal cloud, just a casual thing. He was like, oh, I'm terrified of the cloud. I don't want to do the cloud. And I said, where do you normally store your data now? And he says, oh, I've got a portable hard drive that I put on that. I said to him, great. What if your portable hard drive could be everywhere, accessible by you anywhere in the world? Would that work great? And he said, yes, it'd be great. Great. That's just what the cloud is. And it worked beautifully. And then Rachel, why don't you touch on the automation and the cautious of vendor lock-in?
Yeah, and maybe Richard can add to this as well, but I think it's kind of what you're saying with the cloud solutions there. It's just not fully understanding where the future of IT is going, and so we have to help guide our customers so that they're ready for the future. So a lot of them, they're very particular to a specific vendor, and sometimes we just have to step back in the conversation with them to really understand their business need and finding the right vendors that will provide the best solution for them. So it might not just be all Cisco or all AWS. Sometimes it's a combination of things that will provide for them.
Yeah, multiple partner solutions are absolutely critical. And to both Nathan and Rachel's point, the old way of doing things where we would buy equipment that would last for 5 to 7 years isn't anymore. We build now for the next week, the next 30 days. And the way that you do that is with proactive automation, where we scale up and we scale down massively with these virtualized solutions. So cloud is a hybrid of both fully in someone else's environment, think Azure, AWS, but also your virtualized environments, right? So there's private and public cloud that we take advantage of.
Okay, great. Now move along to our next slide here and let Michaela and Nathan talk about some of these processing technologies.
Sure. I can jump in here. First bullet point, security is constant. So, you know, a lot of you in the IT programs will have to take a basic security course, and that's going to expose you to just the tip of the iceberg of how in-depth security can get when it comes to our information technology infrastructures. These processes are stressed no matter where you go or where you're at when it comes to information technology. And then the next point on generalist IT skills are valuable. I think a lot of times students, as a recent graduate myself, we worry if we've obtained enough knowledge or enough skills to be able to work in the environment. And I'm here to reassure you that, you know, everything that you're learning now, all of it is valuable and it's all going to come into play. Despite if you're going to work at a company that works with DevOps or cloud, those terminologies can be scary at first, but the fundamentals, the general IT skills are always needed and they're always valuable. They're always going to come into play. The fundamentals do not go away. So I can't stress that enough. So all the education that you're getting now in your program is going to be applicable in whatever role you decide to pursue or take. Another scary word is secure DevOps, and all that means is that in information technology, there's an operation side and there's a developer side of things, and they used to be separated, like siloed. Now the transition is for them to merge together. So that's the future, so that they can communicate. And it makes sense because you want operations to know what developers are doing. The developers need to know how operations run in order for us to come up with the most efficient solution for customers. So now we see those changes coming about. And so that's what you're going to hear employers talk about when they say secure DevOps, and keyword is secure because security is never going away. So it's just a merge of all of it. Um, so, be reassured that all the skills that you're learning right now, they're all going to be applicable, and you're only going to be able to build on them once you gain employment.
And if I can touch on something as well, I came from outside of the IT world and jumped into the IT world, and I thought it was going to be a huge steep learning curve on how everything works, and it really, you pick up on it quick. It's the stuff that we've all been brought up dealing with on a regular basis in our homes and in school is really just the same sort of stuff, but a little bit more advanced. And it's been a wonderful transition from where I was in the Army and with working for as a paralegal to being a project manager in IT. It's been wonderful.
Great. Nathan, Michaela, you can touch here kind of our candidate preparation tips that we've got here and kind of what you did to set yourself up for entrance into Red River.
Yeah, so I have been on more interviews than I would like to ever admit. And the first thing that I do is make sure my resume is clean and good. There are a lot of examples out there of how your resume should be put together and written. Find somebody who's been hired recently, something similar to the job that you're looking for, and look at their resume. Their resume most likely is as close as you need to get your resume to it. Other options are, there are resources. If you're a veteran, Hire Heroes will help you do it. Recent college grads, you've got programs inside Nova that'll help you do it. And there are also people that you can find through LinkedIn, other organizations who are willing to help you write your resume. But having a clean, easy to read resume that really puts your key points out for people to see is the first way to get in the door. Absolutely have a professional email address. My email address personally is nate.portnoy@gmail.com. There's no numbers, no nothing to it. I'm lucky where I don't have to have numbers. But if you do, just add something very simple to it, your birth date or whatnot. The other thing is, when you're applying for the job, make sure you do a little bit of research on the company. Get an idea of what they are with their employees, what they are with their clients, what sort of products and services do, because when you apply, you may not hear from them for 2, 3, 4 weeks at times. So when they call you, it's good to have some type of idea of when that company gets brought up and be like, oh, that's the company that's got a 4.0 Glassdoor rating. Oh, that's the company that is currently working on some giant contract with NASA or whatever. But that will then remind you so that you know who you're talking to. I pick up, when I'm looking for a job, I pick up every single phone call that comes into me, and I answer it all the same way. Hi, this is Nate. How can I help you? Just nice, chipper, easy, and goes. It doesn't matter if it's a spam call, which often they are, but you still do it because you're looking for it and you don't know who that other person is, and you need to make that impression right away. When you go into the interview, my big thing is I always go in with the intent of 2 things: make a friend and find out if this is the company that I want to work at. You shouldn't go into interviews feeling desperate. You should always go into an interview feeling prepared. So make sure that you've researched your company, researched the position, and come up with questions that you need to ask. Some of those questions can be like, what do I need to do to be successful in this role? What sort of, what is the best kind of person for this environment? Where do you see this role in 2 to 3 years? How can I progress? Ask questions that put you in the shoes and move you forward through it. And don't, on the first interview, unless they bring it up, talk about money. The first interview is always them getting to know you, getting an understanding of what your goals are, and seeing how well you can fit. And if you are able to walk into that interview and make a friend, then they're going to be somebody who's going to be going to bat for you when they try to bring you on. Also, if they offer you water, always say yes. Always say yes to water. You're going to be talking a lot. They know you're going to be talking a lot. You're going to need to drink, like right now. I need a drink. But yeah, and afterwards, after the email, always send a follow-up thank you. Keeping that level of customer service really makes you stand out because so many people don't say, thank you for letting me talk to you. And you can keep that going. So if you don't hear from them in 2 weeks, you can follow up and see where the process is, and you can see whether or not you're still in the running. And something else that you can do so you can kind of keep your network really great is after you get a job offer, say thank you to everyone you're currently talking to. Not only is that something nobody ever does, but you might get somebody from another company to call you and say, hey, wait, I've got a better offer for you. And then you've really got something going. You will never stop learning. Absolutely will never stop learning. The moment you stop learning, you stop growing, and you're basically going to get pushed over by the next greatest person who comes in. So always be willing to be agile, always be willing to grow, learn, volunteer. LinkedIn is great for social media. Make sure your social media is clean. Make sure that it's something that is publicly presentable. And yeah, and for the internship to hire option, oh, God, if you can find those and get one of those, you're golden. Because what you'll do in that internship, if it's paid or unpaid, is you'll give them an opportunity to see what you're capable of and show them that you are the employee that they want from now, tomorrow, and the next 3 to 5 years. And that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
I agree with everything that Nathan just said. I think one thing that really stands out, especially when you're going to these interviews, is really to know exactly what your value is and where you want to go. I think that when the person who's doing the interviewing gets a sense of loss, for lack of better wording, from the candidate, it doesn't, help the cause. You want to be direct about what your goals are. You want to do that research before going into these interviews, and also research the company to see if your skills or what you're trying to do aligns with the company's goals. How do your goals and the company goals align? And companies put it out there. And also, if you do get the interview, in those 5 to 10 questions, that's your time. Take your time to do that exploration. And I agree with Nate, make a friend, because even if they don't have the role that fits you now, who knows about later? And then also with networking, because being direct and being specific with where you want to go and what you want to do, it best benefits you, and it helps the company too, from not filling the position with somebody who really doesn't want to be there, or set yourself up for success. That's the only thing I have to add on to that.
Great, thank you. I think kind of piggybacking off of this conversation here, we'll talk about some of the internship goals and needs. Nathan, you were kind of starting into that a little bit, if you want to continue along.
Yeah, so I've a little mixed experience with internships. I myself have never actually done one, but I have plenty of friends and colleagues who have, and I've had amazing results from it. Whether it's a congressional internship up on Congress, and then getting asked to stay in that office, or moving into one of the other political think tanks that's out there. Internships are amazing resources, and you should absolutely apply to them early. Because I have a great story of a guy who didn't do an internship one summer and could not get into his field. He could not break through. And he ended up doing something completely different, which turned out great for him. He joined the Army, went in as an officer, and got out and got his MBA and completely changed it. So even if you don't get that internship, the world keeps going. You're going to keep going. You're going to push through it, and you're going to make some amazing things happen. Also, look for companies that have sort of like academy programs, or something where they're talking about a longer introduction to the company. Those types of resources are phenomenal. They're opportunities that should be seized at all cost. Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I was just going to add on, Nathan. Like you said, with the internships, looking for the companies that offer academy programs, it shows that they're invested in you. If you're selected, these kind of companies put the money and the resources into creating these programs so that they can grow their employees. And it definitely, for me, it shows that they're invested in you, that it's reciprocated. The relationship is reciprocated. They want to see you grow. You want to grow. You want to help the company grow. And it's just those goals, again, all aligning. And when you see a company who invests heavily in an academy program and training, you want to take advantage of those kind of opportunities. Those are, what's the opposite of a red flag? I mean, those are like goals. Just go for it.
Yeah, and just to reiterate on Nick Aiola's point, finding a company that's genuinely invested in their employees is a lot harder. And so if you find it, keep it, hold on to it. And Red River definitely is.
Great. Anything else you guys want to add to the slide here before we kind of move in and talk about how Red River really does invest into our employees?
I think a fantastic thing to touch on that, Richard, I hope you can do for me, is understanding compensation models.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really great point, Nathan. Oftentimes, it's important, especially up front, to find the learning opportunities. Your growth potential is far more important early in your career. The time when you're going to make significant amount of money are going to come with your experience. And so understand your benefits package, understand your bonus packages, understand the incentives, the training, the education, maybe it's student loan forgiveness, things of that nature. All of that needs to be factored into your upfront compensation model, right? It's not just a salary. There's quite a bit that comes with it. And so I think that's an important thing to understand, and also understand that those career growth and learning opportunities are going to significantly accelerate your compensation model over time. And so you may be better off in a place where your upfront compensation is lower, but your learning and your growth potential is significantly more. You will rocket past others that are maybe making, $5K more out of the gate, but they don't have the training, the learning, the education, the experiential opportunities that might be presented. So that's an important thing as you start out on this journey.
Yeah, great. Thank you for adding that, Richard. That was excellent. I'm actually going to leave it for you, Richard, to kind of explain our workforce development team and how we really do invest into our employees.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. One of the keys for a company like ours, as you've seen the growth that we've had, is to attract and retain top talent. And so through the relationships with people like Brittany and Northern Virginia Community College, we've got great reach into colleges and universities and different partner programs that you see mentioned here. And it's really key for us to grow and evolve, not just get people in the door, but train and educate them so that they continue to grow and really achieve advancement and leadership positions in the organization. And that's really the focus of our workforce development team. We're so focused and committed that we're not doing this in our spare time. This is our jobs, right? We've got a team of 8 to 10 people that are entirely focused on this and improved training, education, experiential learning opportunities for new and existing employees. Specifically, we've got a couple of great programs. Our Academy program, and I think you've heard Nathan and Nick Aila talk about that a little bit. I think, Rachel, do we have a slide that talks specifically about that program? Yes. Wonderful. And so this is a program that we have built over the course of a number of years. We I've been running programs of this nature for about a decade. Here at Red River, this was our seventh program and our largest. We actually had 19 people throughout the country who are participating in our accelerated development program. 12 weeks of learning. We were able to run it entirely remotely. And these are some of the things that we focused on. Really the key is experiential hands-on learning. And so you're building a great foundation. You've got alignment with mentors. You're learning some great leadership skills. It's an exciting cohort that, people are coming from different walks of life, different backgrounds, very diverse individuals with diverse backgrounds, and they're going to very unique teams, whether it's managed services, project management, business operations, IT, marketing, finance, supply chain, so on and so forth. You're all working and learning together. Nathan and Nicaila, these are some of the things that we highlight, but as participants of the most recent program, and certainly Rachel, a longtime alumni, are there other things that you would highlight that you found particularly useful or valuable, especially as someone new in career?
In the academy, absolutely. For me, it was seeing the big picture. I've been to other companies. I've even worked for the federal government, the Army, and when you get in, your first 3 to 12 months is just figuring out how everything works in a company or an organization, and it can be very hard to go ahead and do that. What the academy provided me is I saw how Red River did their entire process with their clients and how they treated them from start to finish to start again. And that was the key, to start again. Red River goes in this perfect service life circle from when they find the opportunity to when they sell the opportunity to when they build the job, implementing it, managing it, and keeping everyone happy in between. And knowing all of those parts helps me to be able to, when I came to Red River and I got into my project management position, to really hit the ground running. And I've never hit the ground running as fast as I have since, because of anything like this. I mean, it was just amazing, absolutely amazing.
I'll go ahead next and speak on my experience being somebody who has transitioned careers from healthcare as a registered nurse. I can tell you in my 12 years of nursing, it took maybe 5 years to build the business, understanding the business of healthcare, and healthcare is a business. We get into it to provide care, but there's definitely a big business aspect to it. And it took years for me to put all those pieces together in healthcare, understanding the role of the social worker, understanding the role of billing. Even though I'm a direct caregiver, those roles also impact what I do and how I manage my patients. So I had a great appreciation when I joined Red River and went through the 12-week academy, because I can see all the business aspects of it and really understand what role I play individually as a part of somebody who's in managed services, and how that integrates with project management, how it integrates with sales, how it integrates with all the other departments, with legal, with, everything touches each other. And the more you know in that regard, the better service you're able to provide for the customer. It really comes all together. So I had that appreciation and was able to compare and contrast between the two careers in the transitioning.
Rachel, anything you'd add?
Yeah, I would echo what Nathan and Nicaila have said. And I think what's really cool about the Academy program at Red River is you build these strong relationships with your peers, but also other individuals in the company. And that really allows you to grow and move beyond just coming in and doing the same job for years. You have those relationships and that network already built up that you can very easily transition and grow in your career, which is really exciting.
I think that's a great point. One of the other things I think that's key is this was designed as an accelerated development program for, again, recent college grads and those transitioning career. Many jobs are good jobs, but you'll start and you'll get maybe a half a day of training and then you're shown to your desk and go for it. That's not how this program runs, right? The foundations, the case studies, the 12 weeks, as you've heard Nathan and Nicaila and Rachel talk about, understanding how do we do business across all entities, not just your particular job or your business unit. And so it's a much easier transition from the classroom to the workplace than just being shown to your desk and produce this widget. And there are lots of jobs out there like that, but this is a real differentiator that we offer. The alumni network now is, I think, over 50 people, where we've had such great retention from these employees going back to our original group in 2013. Many of those folks are still with us. So a really exciting program, and we'd be excited to have any of you participate in our upcoming session.
Great. Well, that was really our last slide there, but I think we kind of have the rest of our time to go into Q&A and answer any questions that you all might have. So I'm just gonna stop sharing here just to save some bandwidth, and we can go into Q&A.
And I'm a big believer there is no such thing as a bad or dumb question. So ask. You've got us.
This is a great time that if you have any questions that you can't doing your research and your Googles on the internet, this is a good time to ask while you're in front of folks. But while we're waiting for folks to type their questions in the chat, I just want to say thank you to everybody on the Red River team. This was great. I learned a lot, even though I'm not in IT. I'm doing career coaching, but I learned so much. And so I'm just grateful that you all were able to collaborate with us on this today.
Yes, thank you. We love doing this.
Yes, thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
So if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat. Or if you have questions for specific people, you can also type their names beside it, I guess.
All right. If nobody asks questions, I'll ask a question for someone. How do I join Red River?
You know, you're all thinking it.
Rachel or Molly, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I can jump in here. So we have lots and lots of opportunities. So if you go to our website and then go to the careers page, there's, I think last time I checked, there was maybe 50 or so job postings. So there's a lot of opportunities, and quite a few of them are entry-level opportunities right now. So that's definitely one way. And then upcoming for our next year, if you're interested in our academy program, like we talked about, we start kind of recruiting and hiring for that now, and really into kind of the post-holiday season in January there. So be on the lookout for that as well. And you can reach out to any one of us here too if you've got questions on that.
So we have a question in the chat that says, thank you very much. This has been very informative. Will you consider someone who has already completed their degree? I didn't have a chance to do an internship, but would love to get one now. And Red River seems like a great company. And that's from Babak. I hope I'm not butchering your name.
So the short answer is yes. So there are internship opportunities for those that are still in school. There are capstone opportunities, and as Rachel had said, go to our career page, and again, 50 plus openings that are there. All sorts of different. It's not just technology needs, right? There are sales needs. There's marketing. There's finance. There's supply chain, project managers. There are loads and loads of opportunities, and there's quite a bit of detail about the job description, the things that we're looking for. And in many cases, with COVID right now, the opportunities for remote work are really endless. And then beyond that, I think one of the other exciting things that, as you heard Rachel talk about, we have offices throughout the country. So if you're someone that's very excited about moving to a different part, right? Austin, Texas is a really exciting place for sure. Sacramento, California is a very exciting place. New England in the fall is wonderful. So there's lots of opportunities for growth, not just in roles, but in moving around to different parts of the country.
All right, thank you. We have a question from Grant who says, thank you for your time. He said, so other than previous work experience and certifications, are there any good personal details that I should include in my resume? Good question.
Do you have volunteer work? Volunteer work is huge. When I was at Nova, I was also volunteering. So I had double the experience, because education is great, but experience is that extra bit of frosting. So if you've got an organization that you've been doing volunteer work with, whether it's VFW, American Legion for our veterans, even your church, anything that you've done that can have an impact on the community, the country as a whole, are things that you should mention. If you don't have that, then you can sort of, when you're writing about your work that you've done, go ahead and make sure that you put cause and effect in it and highlight those areas of that you've improved, and that can cover that aspect if you don't have volunteer work or whatnot. Other than that, in terms of personal details, you really shouldn't make it personal. It should be as professional as possible and focus on professional. I hope that I answered your question. If you have a follow-up question for it, please go right and ask. I'm more than happy to help you.
Just to add to that, yeah, I would put any professional organizations that you're a part of. As you know, some of you guys are graduating in cybersecurity, some of you guys are maybe cloud programming. There's all kinds of programming, but there are a lot of IT organizations out there. I know that if you're a part of Nova's team, put that on your resume. I know that they run a club, any kind of club that you're a part of that just shows your commitment to what you're learning, and shows commitment to your own growth, and shows that you are immersing yourself in the culture of the field that you're entering. Those are all very important to add on. Don't sell yourself short. You're doing a lot more than you think, most likely. So really take the time to evaluate how you've come to this point in your life. So take that time.
Yeah, and that was really great advice, especially for career switchers. I think sometimes are nervous about, oh, I don't have experience in this particular field, so how does what I've done in the past translate to this? It's all about being able to articulate transferable skills. You have skills, you just have to know how to write it in a way that it shows that it's transferable from one industry to the next.
Exactly.
We have a question from Elodie. I hope that I said that right. Thank you, Red River team, for coming. If I understand, Red River is an academy, or is it an IT company? I will graduate in December in cyber, and I really want an internship opportunity as an international student. And kind of a question that goes along with that, do you require citizenship or a green card? I'm authorized to work in the country, and I'm looking for internships.
Brittany, I'll take that one. So Red River as a company sells IT solutions, hardware, software, services, right? And again, as Rachel talked about, the federal government, the commercial market, and state, local, and education are really our big focus areas. The Academy program is something that we've created internally as a source for great resources, great talent, and a way to train and educate people. So the Academy is just a function that helps grow our internal resources. For the citizenship question, that's a really good question. On the career page, each of the different job descriptions should define whether there's a requirement for a U.S. citizenship or U.S. person. And that's really going to depend upon the customer and the federal contract vehicle that we're participating in. In many cases, there are very strict, stringent requirements, right? We do a lot, for example, with FedRAMP environments, right? And that requires the U.S. citizenship along with many, many other requirements. So look for each of the details of the job description, and that will help define what the requirements are.
Mhm. We have a question that says, in order to work at Red River for an IT position, are any security clearances needed?
So in some cases, they are not required up front. There are many situations where the security clearances are required. So if you have them, it's very valuable. If you don't have them, they will get aligned to you. And you can't just go out necessarily and get a security clearance. You have to be aligned with a government function or activity. So this is actually a great way to achieve one of those clearance levels by taking on a role or a project with us. And again, the job description will help define whether that is a requirement or a nice to have. In many cases, it's very helpful if you had one in the past because the potential of achieving one going perhaps is improved.
It says, we have a question that says, hoping to change into IT. I work full time and I'm also a full-time mom. How do I get started on making this change?
I can help with that one as a career transitioner. Yes, I did work and I went back to school, and still you can't stop being a mom. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. Some of the things that I did to start to immerse myself in the culture of information technology so that I can understand terminologies and actually get to know better what it was all about was I joined a Slack group. There's also meetups. If you have any time, and these meetups are open to anybody who wants to just learn more about information technology or coding or programming, and you don't have to commit to them or pay for it. Everybody picks a public location, they meet up and they just learn. The Slack community I was on was virtual, so it was nice. It's an application on my phone. Actually, a Google developer started it because she wanted to be like the glue between startups and developers. There's a lot of barriers between startups and developers. A lot of people have hopes and dreams, and developers have to come in and have the discussions, but that was her ultimate goal. But she allowed any number of members to join the Slack group so they can get the conversation starting. And just by being kind of a fly in the wall and reading through the chats and listening throughout, and not necessarily always engaging in the conversation because I'm very new to the space, I learned a lot. I learned that programming wasn't the direction for me, but that was okay. But you still get to understand what it means for a developer and the operation sides, and also how cloud technology is integrated, because they're all discussing those things. They're discussing what's the latest and greatest and what's on the come up and what employers are looking for and where and what companies they're working for. So that really got a jump start on me. And I did a lot of I read all the time. In your spare time, read, and you try to join one of those organizations, and that's going to really allow you to find a direction in information technology. It's a broad field. I can't stress that enough to students or people who wanting to transition. The field is so broad, you have to find what you take a liking to and then investigate that and decide if it's for you, and you go from there. I hope that gives you some guidance.